I grew up in Canada, a town called Sudbury. It's a rather unusual place. Sudbury was formed by the impact of a meteorite 2 billion years ago. And when that meteorite came crashing to the ground, it left a gaping hole, a crater, filled with nickel, platinum, copper mineral deposits. And Sudbury was built inside that hole and around it. Growing up as a kid, the sulfur content was so thick you could smell it and taste it and feel it in the back of your throat. The acid rain was so piercing, it would burn through the paint in people's cars. Would you be surprised if I told you that Sudbury has an excellent cancer center? The mining practices devastated the land, the air, the water. Could this image of our mine tailings not be from another planet? The vegetation died. The rocks were black and burnt, and my hometown became a desolate moonscape, so much so that the NASA astronauts came to train in Sudbury before they launched into space for the Apollo missions. So you see, I have always been surrounded by space right here on Earth, and I've always been surrounded by cancer. Perhaps then it comes as no surprise that I'm specializing in space medicine and leading Tumors in Space, which is the most advanced cancer research experiment ever conducted in space. And I have people ask me all the time, but Tricia, isn't there a cure? And the dreadful truth is there is no cure for cancer. There is no cure. There is early detection, there's treatment with chemotherapy, radiation therapy, hormone therapy, there's surgery, but there's no cure. And we are spending billions of dollars doing the same research over and over again, from biomarkers for early detection to investigating smaller and smaller biological mechanisms that may kill a tumor, even though that tumor will probably come back. We're treating our cancer patients in the same toxic methods over and over again. There has to be another way. In the next 2 decades, cancer cases will increase by 70%. It is time to do something radically different. Not more of the same. It is time to broaden our perspectives. It's time to use every platform that's available to us to stop this disease in its tracks. It is time for Tumors in Space. So let's talk about science. We are sending organoids into space for a 31-day space mission, and we're the first team to do it. So what are organoids? Organoids are 3-dimensional stem cell organoids that mimic the structure and function of the source tissue or organ from which they're taken. They're so physiologically relevant that their trademark name is patient in a lab, and sometimes we do call them mini organs. So these 3-dimensional organoids consist of adult stem cells. And we take these, we care for them, we clone them in our lab, and we can do highly relevant cancer research that are immediately applicable to a human being. So we are taking cancer organoids and healthy organoids 5 centimeters away from that tumor, and we're sending them into space. Why space? I believe that zero gravity may have therapeutic effects. And I'm not the only one. Previous investigators have sent 2D cell lines, which are nowhere near as physiologically relevant as our 3D organoids. They've sent them into space for 7, 10, 14 days, and they found a change in gene expression linked to tumor suppression, which means zero gravity may interfere with a cancer cell's ability to replicate itself. So zero gravity may slow or stop the growth of cancer. What would that mean? It would be completely unsustainable to send every cancer patient up into space for therapy. But what we can do is we can harness that environment right here on Earth and build anti-gravity chambers. Now, this may sound like a far-fetched idea, but I ask you to please remember it wasn't so long ago we were treating patients with leeches by sucking out the bad blood as a cure, and now we know this to be absurd. And it is my hope that 100 years from now, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren will look back on this time and shake their heads at the way we treat cancer patients with chemo and radiation and wonder how it is we could have been so archaic. What if we're wrong? If we're wrong, at least we tried something new, not more of the same. And we will have inspired ourselves and others to also try something new again and again until we stop this disease. But in order to get to that bright future without cancer, we must be bold. We must be creative. We must not be afraid to fail. We must remember to dream. It's not enough anymore to think out of the box. We have to think out of this world. Tumors in space. An idea worth sharing.